The American way of life we have come to know and love is in real danger of evaporating right before our very eyes. Socialism is at our doorstep. Actually, it's just around the corner, unless we put a strong conservative in the Oval Office. Have someone in mind that might enjoy listening to the show, especially a young person that needs to hear a conservative message. Tell them how to subscribe or send them to the About page. This will provide methods of subscribing to the show, and that is www.oldguardaudio.com/about. Let me know what you think of the show. Send me an email at john@oldguardaudio.com. I will not add you to any email spam list. Again, thank you for making the show a success. We are listened to now in over 70 countries, and I am praying that God will richly bless you and yours. Thank you again. This is John Haynes.
And a brand new poll out of Iowa showing Donald Trump still leading at 25%. Senator Ted Cruz, though, might be the real surprise this time. He's doubled his support in just 4 weeks. He's now at 23%, which is within the margin of error for the top spot. Dr. Ben Carson drops to third. Senator Marco Rubio surges to fourth. Senator Rand Paul is next, with Governor Jeb Bush seeming to still lose some ground, dropping a percentage point from a month ago. Jonah, you say these numbers are not a real surprise to you. Why?
Well, in part because we saw that Ben Carson was sliding, and that and it makes sense that a lot of those people would go to Ted Cruz. In part because Ted Cruz is a pretty good standard bearer, particularly in Iowa, for the conservative vote. Most of the votes going to Donald Trump are liberal, self-described liberals and moderates, and also Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio have had the best strategic patience of anybody on the Republican side of the field. They understand the timing of these things, the pacing of these things, and they want to have their kick like in a marathon when it matters, as you come up on the first votes. And that's what's happening now. Cruz has been almost brilliant in his way of cultivating the right-wing base, of not alienating Donald Trump, and of stealing voters from people like Rand Paul and now Ben Carson.
Do you expect, Jonah, that Donald Trump will remain up there where he is, sort of almost stratospheric numbers, 25% right now? Or if candidates start to drop out of the race, are they going to go other places?
Yeah, my suspicion is that at least some polls are going to start showing Ted Cruz as the front runner in Iowa. It happened for Ben Carson. Most of the Iowa Republican electorate is not supporting Donald Trump. And we know from Donald Trump's past is anytime he is threatened or is seen as not the number one guy, not the alpha dog, not the winner, he kind of loses his cool and goes on the attack. And it'll be very interesting to see him attack Ted Cruz, because Ted Cruz is the kind of guy who swims across a moat with a knife in his teeth, and he knows how to fight back.
Fox News digital policy editor. How are you, sir? Good day to you.
Bonjour.
What's going on here with Ted Cruz? He's doubled his support in a month.
So Ted Cruz was sort of out hovering over the deep in the Republican presidential race. He had a lot of dough. He had a lot of favorables among very conservative voters, but it hadn't happened. The thing hadn't happened. And you may have just seen the thing happen, which is when we look at this poll, we see Ted Cruz has tremendous support. He does the best among self-identified very conservative voters, among Christian evangelicals, and among self-identified Tea Party advocates or members. Those are people you want to be doing well with to win in Iowa, and he is doing very well with them. He's also doing very well with women, and that is contrasted against frontrunner Donald Trump, who does very well with men. He does very well with self-described liberals, self-described moderates, and among voters who lack college degrees. So you have two different electorates in Iowa, and one of them is going all in for Ted Cruz.
Okay, you mentioned these numbers here. Go inside the numbers on Cruz is what we find. Tea Party support, 42%. Evangelical, 27%. Very conservative, 38%. So you're now seeing a bit of a shift now, and we'll see again. What are we, 80 days away now? 75? Check the calendar.
It's getting hot.
Ted Cruz and Donald Trump have played nice with one another so far.
Well, yes.
When does that change?
That changes whenever Donald Trump decides that this is an existential threat. When he feels like he's got no choice but to start insulting Ted Cruz and start attacking him, that is presumably when he'll do it, because that's what politicians do. They attack when they feel they need to attack, and we assume that we'll see that. The better question is this. Donald Trump was very successful in humiliating, belittling Ben Carson. He attacked him. And then in good timing for Trump, national security focus came in and really hurt Carson. You see it in this poll. You see it in our poll nationally. family. Ted Cruz is going to be a much tougher out and much tougher to take down for Donald Trump, because Cruz is not just a guy who was top in his class at Harvard Law School and a great national debating champion, but also this is a guy who's been through the hurly-burly of politics for a long time, and when Trump swings at him, I would imagine Cruz is going to be ready to swing back.
Wow, okay, all right.
Well, there you have it. I am so glad you chose to be a part of Old Guard Audio today. Do me a big favor and tell someone about the show. Maybe you can help with the cost